Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a throwaway account in the AITAH subreddit. The post is titled AITAH for sacrificing my daughter's college fund because her sister just gave birth to her fourth child. My older daughter gave birth to her fourth child 6 months ago. She used to work as a dishwasher, but due to health issues stemming from her second child and then her third child, she can no longer work. She tried her best getting an office temp job, but after about a week, the woman supervising her said this isn't working out. She was a very uptight woman who claimed that just because it always took her 3 days max to train everybody else for the data entry work, she couldn't just be a good person and accommodate slower learners. That woman likely caused her to get a bad reputation at the temp agency, and she didn't get hired elsewhere. My daughter's boyfriend works at Walmart. He had many more hours when she was pregnant, but since then, his hours have ebbed and flowed. He said he will take a day in the future to look for jobs, but it's the holidays and he's busy with family. I feel a lot of empathy for my daughter and her boyfriend and wish I could help them out more, but I myself am a single mom working for a nursing home where I struggle to get full-time hours, and my ex ran up a lot of debt in both our names and is now living in another country. My younger daughter has a college fund. The amount in it would be enough to pay a large portion of a 2-year community college tuition. She's applied to 4-year universities with the understanding that she'd be taking out loans and working, so she's deciding between 4-year universities and community college. The other shoe dropped after my older daughter's landlord found out that they were having her boyfriend's brother and girlfriend living in their 1-bedroom apartment in exchange for help with the rent, and they got evicted. My daughter agrees it was wrong to lie to the landlord, and both parents are depressed because her boyfriend got a job offer 1 state away and they would have to move from their support network. They came to me asking for help so they could have more time to find financial stability here. I was torn, but seeing my grandkids, I knew my duty was to care for the most vulnerable in the family. So I will be making calls to liquidate my younger daughter's college fund, saying yes to understanding the penalties, and told my younger daughter this. She got very cold and said, "You always brag about having a good memory. I hope you remember this moment then." She has not spoken to me since. She spent Thanksgiving inquiring with family friends to see if hospitals are keen to hire college students for kitchen or reception or anything. She made some cryptic posts about how she hopes she'll be grateful one day that she won't have the privilege of studying anything outside of something technical, because she needs something where she'll always be able to find a job. User Flexi Sexy Maxi said, YTA, why does your daughter have 4 children if she cannot support any of them? They should be using birth control and you should not be coddling them. Now you are sacrificing your younger daughter's future because her older sister cannot find a condom. To this OP said, they do use birth control. I feel badly because my kids grew up around a lot of strict religious people, and me leaving that community was what caused my ex to leave me. But they still feel that abortion is wrong, and I feel it's my duty to not berate them and treat their kids like they are blessings. User Lost and Dumbfound said, so your oldest daughter could barely afford 3 kids, has chronic pain and no job, and she decided that a 4th child would be a great idea. And then you thought the best solution was to upset your other daughter and jeopardize her future, when there was an option for them to move so they could get more assistance. Of course, YTA. To this OP said, they would have been homeless anyway because they needed the boyfriend's brother's income to help pay their rent, and he would only give it to them in exchange for a place to live. This next post was made in the same subreddit by a user named Accomplished Owl. The post is titled AITAH for giving my husband the cold shoulder after he ruined my Halloween. For context, I'm a 25 and my husband is 29. I am pregnant with our first baby and I am 6 months along. This Halloween, I was clearly ecstatic to hand out candy to trick-or-treaters. Where I live, Halloween is a massive event and everyone gets into it. I decorated the outside of our house, bought loads of candy beforehand, made a costume, and had been talking about it for weeks. However, my husband is a bit of a grouch when it comes to holidays. He had a bad childhood and heavily dislikes Halloween. He's always put up with it though because he knows I love it. This year, whenever a trick-or-treater knocked at our door, he'd answer before I had a chance and scare them off by yelling at them and making scary noises at literal children. I told him to stop multiple times. He said he was having his fun and that I needed to stop being such a party pooper. By the end of the night, I had only handed out candy to a few kids and was very clearly upset with him. He told me I was overreacting, but he knew I was excited for Halloween and he purposely went out of his way to ruin it. Since that night, I've been giving him the cold shoulder. I've tried to express my disappointment, but he just won't listen and says I'm hormonal. We have a conjoined friend group, and some of them say I'm being an asshole and need to grow up because it's a child's holiday, while others say I'm totally reasonable because he ruined the holiday I was excited for. So I'm looking for some outside perspective. Am I the jerk? Edit, I left out some information here and hopefully this can clear some things up. First off, yes, I was also mad he terrorized innocent children. I made sure to give extra candy to the children and apologize to them and their parents profusely. I thought it was obvious that I would have apologized. And secondly, no, he doesn't usually act like this around kids. If he did, I never would have married him, let alone let him impregnate me. User Flower of Iron said, this is what they mean by generational abuse. Your husband had a bad childhood and now he ruins holidays for others, and in the future, for your kids too. My dad was like this. He was always angry during the holidays. I actually enjoy Christmas now that I don't see him at all. Get him therapy before he passes on the cycle of abuse. User Vegan Pizza Paradise said, NTA. I'm a teacher and know that age very well. Do you know how easily traumatized kids are at that age? His behavior is abusive and ruined Halloween for his little victims, not just you. Being single is way better than being with someone who gaslights you, has no consideration for your feelings, and terrorizes toddlers. You're hormonal because you're pointing out that it's wrong to traumatize kids. He's going to be much worse after you have that baby. He's already acting out because you're pregnant. For the sake of your child, you really should leave him immediately. And dump any friends siding with a sadist. Scaring children like that is a huge red flag. That is not normal behavior at all. It shows he gets off harming innocent children. What do you think he's going to do to your kid when he gets angry or feels compelled to have his fun? As a childhood trauma survivor, I know that you can end up one of two ways. You can become someone who is very mindful and empathetic so that you don't continue the cycle of abuse, or you can become an abuser. Your husband very much seems like the latter. He needs therapy and you need to get away from him. Update. Hello all, I didn't expect to update this, but everyone wanted to know, so here I am. First off, thank you for all your advice. It really gave me some insight and I appreciate it deeply. Anyway, on to the update. I waited for my husband to come home from work. I messaged him and told him we needed to talk once he got home, and he replied with a thumbs up. When he got home, I sat him down and attempted to have a rational conversation with him, expressing my disappointment about the ruined holiday and why I was upset with him for terrifying children, especially considering he is soon to be a father. I suggested that we go to couples therapy to discuss boundaries and behavior, and that he go to individual therapy to talk about his own issues. He blew up immediately, accusing me of disregarding his trauma and basically just yelling at me for being weak. He insisted he didn't need therapy, but his response reinforced that he did. He went as far as to punch a wall and destroy furniture. Total maniac mode. I had pre-packed a bag in case it led to this, and I left for my parents' house. He was berating me as I left the house, but I paid no mind. My parents are obviously on my side. My older brother was absolutely furious and swore to beat my husband's ass. I told him not to do that. He's always been a bit over the top. I'm going to listen to everyone's advice and get a divorce. I don't want my baby surrounded by that kind of immature bully. I'm going to try for full custody. Our house has cameras, so I have proof of his adult tantrum, which I hope can be used as evidence. My brother and dad are going to come with me to collect my things while my soon-to-be ex-husband is at work. I'll keep you guys posted. Thank you for all your support and helpful comments. I can't believe this happened all within the span of almost a day. Life is crazy. This final post was made in the same subreddit by a user named CB. The post is titled AITAH for going off on my pregnant Sil after repeatedly being disrespected and ignored by her. My boyfriend and I had just gotten married in May of this year after being together for 5 years. For context, my now husband's family has an interesting history and dynamic. I describe them as very multicultural and diverse. My father-in-law is black and Arab mixed, and my mother-in-law is white and Persian mixed. As a result, their extended families are spread around the world. My husband has 3 siblings, an elder brother and 2 younger brothers. I am not sure if this is important, but I am Asian. So my husband was studying in my home country, which is how we met. He has also lived and worked in my country for the past 4 years. It's safe to say he's made his permanent home here. Because of the dynamics of his family, I rarely get to meet them because they all live in different countries. During our 5-year relationship, I barely met his parents 2 to 3 times and never met his older brother and his wife. On the other hand, I see his younger brothers frequently because they are currently studying in my native country and we are really close. Fast forward to May of this year when my now husband and I chose to get married in my home country. All of his family flew here to attend the wedding, and I met my husband's older brother and his wife for the first time. The first awkward incident with my Sil occurred when I went to the airport with my husband to pick her and my Bill up a few days before our wedding. When we first met, I extended my hand for a handshake to my Sil, and she literally just used the tip of her fingers to touch my hands, like when you don't really want to touch someone's hand during a handshake. Following that, she walked right past me and hugged my husband. On the other side, my Bill is really welcoming and thrilled to finally meet me. He hugged me and said it's great to finally meet me. His warmth made me forget about my Sil's rudeness, and we moved on. In the days leading up to the wedding, my Sil made subtle remarks about the wedding, criticizing every element we chose, from the flowers to my wedding dress. For everyone's information, I come from a financially secure family that owns a business. My parents supported half of the wedding costs, while the other half was covered by myself and my husband. My husband is a doctor, and I work as an engineer. One thing that frustrates me is how my Sil keeps telling me how fortunate I am to have a wealthy family to mooch off from, and is sure to be throwing a lot of tantrums at my parents given how enormous and luxurious the wedding is, but it's always so subtle that it wouldn't start a fight, but is enough to make me uncomfortable. For background, my Bill and Sil are also both financially well off. My husband's family was similarly financially comfortable to begin with. My BIL is an accountant, and my SIL occupies a management position in a company. She is also a lifestyle influencer with quite a large following on Instagram, and they live in Dubai. Fast forward to September of this year, my husband and I received an invitation from my BIL and SIL for a gender reveal party and baby shower in October, which occurred a few days ago. We were ecstatic and decided to book our flights to Dubai immediately after receiving the invitation. For your information, there were 2 separate events, a gender reveal party for my BIL, SEL, and their respective families and acquaintances, and a baby shower for my Sil and her female family members and acquaintances the following day. I was invited to both parties and was supposed to attend the baby shower without my husband, which I believed was a nice opportunity to bond with my Sil. However, my Sil contacted my husband one day before the gender reveal party and informed him that I was not invited to the baby shower. The reason she gave was that she did not want me to draw attention away from her during the event. My husband and I were plainly perplexed as to how I would be diverting attention from her. She explained that no one knows or has ever met me, so they would ask about me, and she did not want to spend time explaining who I am to her guests. Because we did not want to cause unnecessary drama, we agreed that I would only attend the gender reveal party with him. On the day of the gender reveal party, I went with my husband, but my Sil did not speak with me at all or even acknowledge my presence. I tried to make small talk to congratulate her, but she just blew me off each time. My Bill, on the other hand, was as friendly as ever, thankfully. When the party appeared to be coming to an end, I went out to the car to get the gift I had purchased. Since I would not be attending the baby shower the next day, I decided to give it to her that day. During that time, as guests began to leave, I handed her the gift and she screamed at me loudly. The first thing she said was, "Don't you have manners?" I was clearly taken aback and bewildered. She then accused me of attempting to assert dominance by flaunting my wealth and rubbing it in her face, as well as looking down on her. For those who are curious about the present I bought, it was a baby blanket and sleeping bag from Dior, which came in a Dior shopping bag. I felt humiliated after being screamed at, and my blood was boiling at that moment. In anger, I yelled back at her, asking what I had done wrong to deserve such disrespect. I told her that her insecurities were not my responsibility, and that if she despised me that much, she should not have invited me in the first place. She appeared stunned by my words and began crying. Both my husband and Bill rushed over to calm us down. My husband suggested that we leave since some guests had already begun to depart. This happened 3 days ago, and since then everything has been quiet. Nobody has said anything, and now I feel horrible for yelling at a pregnant woman. Update. It has been a month since my last post, and now I have the opportunity to provide an update, finally. First and foremost, I would like to thank everyone who commented and supported me in my previous post, and I apologize for not being able to respond to each and every one of you. By the way, my husband and I have returned safely to our home. After a few days of silence following what happened at the gender reveal party, I eventually sat down with my husband to discuss it. We had an honest discussion in which I expressed how mean my Sil has been to me, and my husband ended up apologizing for not standing up for me while subconsciously knowing how my Sil has treated me. As I mentioned in my previous post, my husband comes from a household without a girl sibling, and for the past 12 years, Sil has been like a sister to him, leaving him torn between speaking out against her and sticking up for me. He said he didn't expect things to go so badly because we live in separate countries and won't see each other much. We resolved our conversation with him promising to have my back if something like this happened again. In the same week, my husband and I had the opportunity to speak with my Bill through a video call. I know not everyone would agree with my apology, but I did apologize to BIL for causing a scene by yelling at their gender reveal party. To my surprise, BL said it was fine and remarked she had it coming. Following that, BL apologized to me on behalf of CL as well as for turning a blind eye to what had been going on between me and CL. We discussed what might be the source of CL's hatred for me, and to my surprise, it appears to be tied to the fact that CL believes I am taking over the position of daughter-in-law in the family from her. She has been the only Sil for my husband's brothers, and she believes I am taking over the role. As I previously stated, my husband's younger brothers have been studying in my home country since early this year, and we have had many opportunities to spend time together. According to Bill, Sil believes the brothers have been pulling away from her and becoming closer to me. For information, the brothers are 22 and 16 years old. Adding to the unpredictable pregnant hormones, she believes I'm buying the brothers' love by spoiling them with materialistic items. Bill stated that she had mentioned her concern to him several times previously, but he did not expect her to take it seriously and always dismissed it. He apologized again and stated that he will discuss it with Sil after her feelings have been resolved. According to Bill, Asil has been acting as if nothing has happened, so he is also unsure when it is appropriate to bring the issue to the table. We ended the video chat on a positive note, and I promised Bill that I would speak with the brothers and perhaps encourage them to contact Sil to see how she is doing so she does not feel left out. And as for Sil, I haven't spoken to her yet, and to be honest, I'm not sure I ever will. My husband and I have decided to move on from this situation and focus on our own lives. I believe that's all the updates so far, and to be honest, I could use some suggestions on how to fix my relationship with my SIL. Should I reach out to her or something?